Let me ask you something. Right now, what is the exact position of your left foot? Don't move it, just notice it. Strange question, right? But here's something even stranger. Your brain knew the answer the whole time, yet you didn't notice it until I asked. Which means something crazy is happening inside your mind every second. Your brain is constantly receiving information from your body, your surroundings, sounds, thoughts, memories. But you are only aware of a tiny fraction of it. And the difference between ordinary people and extraordinary thinkers is not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not even hard work. It's something far more powerful. A mental ability that detectives use to solve crimes, entrepreneurs use to build billion-dollar companies, scientists use to discover new ideas, and psychologists use to understand human behavior. And the crazy part? You were born with this ability. When you were a child, you used it every single day. But slowly, school, stress, routine, social media, overthinking buried it deep inside your brain. That ability is called conscious awareness. And in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you why most people lose this ability, why it secretly controls your success, creativity, and confidence, and how you can train it again using simple mental exercises. But first, let's test something. Challenge 1. The simple question. I want you to answer this question quickly. Don't overthink it. Here it is. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning. You brush your teeth, get ready, leave your house, and start walking outside. Now tell me, what was the first thought that came to your mind in that scene? Was it about work, money, something stressful, or something neutral? Here's the interesting part. Most people don't realize that their mind automatically jumps to problems, not possibilities, problems. And there's a reason for that. Psychologists have discovered that the human brain produces around 60,000 thoughts per day. But here's the shocking part. Around 90 to 95% of those thoughts are repetitive, meaning today you will think almost the same thoughts you thought yesterday, and yesterday you thought almost the same thoughts as the day before. Which means most people are not really thinking, they are replaying mental recordings. And when your brain is busy replaying old thoughts, it stops noticing new information, which slowly weakens one very important mental ability, awareness. The childhood mind. Think about a small child. A child can spend 10 minutes staring at a simple thing, a fan spinning, a shadow moving, rain hitting the window. Why? Because children don't live inside their thoughts, they live inside their experience. Their brain is focused on what is happening right now. That's why children learn extremely fast. In fact, neuroscientists discovered something incredible. By the age of 5, a child's brain has already developed around 90% of its structure. Why? Because in those early years, the brain is constantly observing, absorbing, and connecting information. But as we grow older, something changes. Instead of experiencing reality, we start living inside our mental commentary. You walk into a room, but instead of noticing the room, your brain starts thinking, I have so much work today. I forgot to reply to that message. What if that meeting goes badly? And just like that, your attention disappears from the present moment. This creates something psychologists call the mental fog. Mental fog is when your thoughts become so loud that they block your awareness. Imagine trying to hear someone talking while 10 other people are shouting around you. That's exactly what happens inside your mind. Too many thoughts, too little attention. And when that happens, 3 important abilities start getting weaker. your focus becomes weaker, your memory becomes weaker, and your decision-making becomes weaker. Which is why many people feel like their brain is always tired, not because they are doing too much work, but because their mind is doing too much unnecessary thinking. So the real question becomes, how do you reduce this mental noise? Before we answer that, let's try another small test. Challenge 2, the memory test. I will say a list of words. Your job is to remember as many as possible. Ready? Here we go. Apple, bridge, clock, river, notebook, mountain, key, coffee, window, camera. Okay, now pause for a moment. How many words do you remember? Most people remember around 5 to 7. That's not random. Psychologists discovered that the average human short-term memory can store about 7 pieces of information at once. But here's the trick. If those pieces of information are connected in a story, the brain remembers much more. For example, imagine a story. You are drinking coffee near a river. Next to you is a notebook where you are writing ideas. Suddenly, you see a camera on the table and you pick up a key lying beside it. Now notice something. Without trying too hard, your brain just remembered several items from the list. Why? Because the brain is not designed to remember random data. It remembers meaningful patterns. This is why great thinkers are not necessarily people with better memory. They are people who understand how the brain organizes information. And that brings us to a powerful concept, the mental storage system. Imagine your brain is like a large room. Inside this room, you can store information, ideas, memories, skills. But here's the catch. The room has limited space for things you actively think about. If you fill it with useless worries, there will be less space for important observations. If you fill it with distractions, there will be less space for creativity. So the smartest people in the world do something differently. They are very selective about what they allow inside their attention. Instead of reacting to everything, they observe carefully. Which brings us to the most important skill in this video, the power of aware attention. Most people look at things, but very few people notice them. There's a huge difference. Looking is passive. Noticing is active. Looking happens automatically. Noticing requires attention. For example, you may walk past the same street every day, but one day you suddenly realize there is a small cafe there, and you think, wait, has this always been here? Yes, it has. But your brain never noticed it before, because your attention was somewhere else. This is why two people can experience the same situation, but understand different things. One person sees problems, another person sees opportunities. One person hears criticism, another person hears useful feedback. The difference is not intelligence, the difference is how they pay attention. Challenge 3, the thought interrupt. Now let's try something interesting. For the next 10 seconds, I want you to do nothing. Just notice your breathing. That's it. Notice the air going in and air going out. Pause for a moment and do it. Now, notice what happened. Did your brain stay quiet, or did random thoughts appear? Maybe you suddenly remembered something. Maybe your brain started planning something. Maybe you got distracted. That's normal, because the brain is constantly producing thoughts. But here's the powerful insight. You don't need to stop thoughts to gain control. You just need to notice them. The moment you notice a thought, you create distance from it. And in that moment, your awareness becomes stronger than your thinking. This small shift is the beginning of mental clarity.